that you see as the opportunity for your fund?
Yes. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. Fundamentally, we recognize that the next generation of the internet is being created today. And there are so many entrepreneurs from all over the world that have the greatest vantage point to create the internet that needs to exist today. So we want to back them. And we recognize that there's a whole continent in Africa and so many different parts of the world that have overlooked and underestimated founders that can literally become the next geniuses to create the better internet, to create the better financial system, and create better culture for lives of people all over the world. So we want to invest in them.
Erikan, you're a woman who knows Africa. You used to be connecting there with the future of Africa. You connected investors with entrepreneurs. But you're a woman who's, I mean, you've traveled, you've been a jazz musician, I understand. You were at one point really focused on helping find a cure for AIDS in Brazil, South Africa. What drew you to crypto? What got you investing in Ethereum?
Yeah, well, fundamentally, I have been someone who's been overlooked by financial institutions my entire life. As an immigrant in the United States, my family has sent hundreds of thousands of dollars back to Africa every single year. And frankly, I can't walk into a traditional bank and be serviced for my needs to move money across continents and oceans. And so my understanding of blockchain and my understanding of crypto was that I could send money without intermediaries, including banks, to my family members in Nigeria without dealing with the incredible costs and the incredible challenges and frankly, inability to track my money effectively. And when I was living in Nigeria, and literally it was at the beginning of a recession, which many countries around the world are experiencing today, I was not able to move my money in the local currency because it was deflating incredibly, and I couldn't even move it to the US dollar because the national government had said there's a freeze on the dollar in the nation, and the dollar had become gold in Nigeria. And when I realized that one of the largest black nations in the world, the biggest producer of oil in Africa, and one of the biggest exports of intellectual capital had a currency that they couldn't rely on, I knew that we needed an alternative system. So I dabbled in Ethereum and eventually found that blockchain has created a way for us to literally move trillions of dollars around the world without the middlemen that we have to work around today.
When you think about like the types of apps or the types of companies that can allow normal people to sort of interact with crypto, because it is extremely hard to wrap one's head around often, and the apps are confusing, and especially a lot of the DeFi apps still have a long way to go in terms of usability that's sort of like the general public would be able to understand. What are the types of solutions, or sorry, the types of like problems that you're looking to see solved in the companies you're trying to find?
Yeah. So fundamentally, things are challenging. You're so right about that. And guess what? It is the perfect time to now create the layer that is accessible, that is available and readily understandable by the general mass public. So we're looking to invest in companies that recognize that the infrastructure can be as complicated as it is, but at the end of the day, we need to communicate and get as close to the 8 billion people on this planet. So not only people have the opportunity to build wealth, but they can do so in a way that they understand. So we're excited to invest in companies that are considered dApps, decentralized apps, which are essentially layers on top of all of this funny sounding infrastructure that you all are hearing about today, that essentially make you not even aware of what all of this technicality is, and simply allow you to on-ramp nicely and smoothly into this new internet with seamless efforts to build wealth and participate in new financial systems. So we're excited about those seamless apps and solutions that make this infrastructure more accessible.
And of course, focused on those that are being built by people of color in particular, Erikan. And I think what's so interesting, when we are lucky enough on this show to interview, for example, basketball stars, some celebrities who are people of color who've got into crypto, got into NFTs, for example, and are really powerfully passionate about getting people of color within it. They see an area that you don't need to be an accredited investor, that there are less blocks to actually getting in at an early stage to back these sorts of companies. How many people of color are building at the moment? How many companies are there opportunities to put these $100,000 checks to work in?
Yeah, well, fundamentally, since you all did such a great job in breaking the story, we've had incredible inbound. And right now, there's a wonderful community called Crypto for Black Economic Empowerment, which includes 150 crypto all-stars from across 20 countries. And right there alone, there's about 70 companies that are worth making a solid investment today that are seeking some of the largest amounts of capital in the space right now. So right now, we recognize that there's easily 100 companies that we can look to invest in, we want to make 1 to 3 a quarter. And frankly, with the visibility and representation matters so much, with so many more people now being able to see, wow, I can do that. I can raise $10 million and build something that has a $15 billion market cap in 4 years. I want to go and do that as well. So we also recognize that this fund is really going to signal to so many Black and brown people from all over the world that they can be the leaders in the new internet, and that we can be a check that is the first one to go into them and say, we believe in you and we validate your genius.